Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. I want to talk just a little bit about having watched the first volume of season 4 of Stranger Things. All 7 episodes, all of them supersized. They're all like well over an hour. It's a lot of questions raised, but they did answer a lot of questions too. But I don't know. Stranger Things, I really liked the first season. And the second season, I was on board with the new cast members and some of the way they twisted it in the third season too, and how ambitious, how big it is, how big in scale. Even though starting in the third season, they had the group of kids like separate, and it's more of the same kind of thing, except in a larger scale. Not just the kid, but the groups of people the characters we know in season 4 here, Stranger Things season 4. The exploration and sort of origin story, a lot of Eleven's, that was probably the biggest part of this season. That and the introduction of Vecna and the Vecna connection to the Upside Down. I'm not going to spoil it exactly. We got 2 more episodes coming in July. They're going to be both like an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's going to be like movies. The origin story has the likes of, it's like this Vecna thing. Vecna's not the head of the Upside Down, but the origin of the Upside Down. They had the different factions. They had the group that's in actually Hawkins, Indiana, which is some of the kids and some of the older kids. Then you had the group in California, 11, Joyce and the 2 kids, the Byers kids. Of course, they introduced another character out there, Argyle, which was kind of silly. I mean, he added some comic relief, but they overdid it a bit. Some of the characters, like the Mike character, they kind of got outside of character. The explanation is, well, they're getting older and they're changing their personalities. Mike, and the fact that they have the Will character, it's kind of just there at points. I know his character is supposed to be sort of introverted and quiet, but you think, well, if some of the characters are going to change, he would change too. But, his character wasn't that involved. Maybe in the last 2 episodes. I know the Upside Down, the drawings he did was a big part of his character in the previous seasons. The whole thing with Hopper in the Russian prison, it didn't really get the sense that was going to be basically almost the entire season. I get it to a point. It gives them kind of a plot point for Joyce, and she meets up with, I forget the guy's name. It was silly. It was, and then they introduce, of course, they bring in one of the Demogorgons and stuff like that. It had more than one. I know one episode warranted more than one episode, I guess, but I was not, and the fact they kept on going back and forth with all the different plots. It's like so where's this plot again? Remember that? The Hawkins plot was still the primary plot. The plot with Vecna and the kids and the whole Nightmare on Elm Street metaphors, and of course they've had Robert Englund show up as and makes a cameo in one scene. They might bring him back actually. I don't know. So they did tie the dots together, and they had an extra year. This was supposed to be coming out in, I think it was 2021. They had an extra year. I think made some difference. The continuity I'm not sure about with the character of, it would be Henry Creel. His age in the flashback, and then he should be like at least in his 30s. And the guy that they had play him, I don't know, I'd have to look him up. He looks kind of young. He looks like he's, just outside of high school, maybe in college, like college age. That's what he looked. But, the difference between 18 and 35 sometimes in Hollywood is just like nothing. So I don't know. It was well connected in some ways. Maybe season 4 has been the best season. The Kate Bush thing. That's probably the thing I'm taking away the most. With a lot of people are running up that hill. The plot with Max when she's basically running for her life and she plays the Kate Bush song. Now the explanation we better get with Vecna and why the music is sort of like a gateway to get out of the Upside Down. Why that is. His motivations are kind of. I haven't had enough meat to chew on to understand his motivations. humans are in a cycle and he wants to break the cycle. What does that mean? There's got to be more to it. He had to have been driven by something else too. I'm thinking that Brenner really had something to do with it. That the key in the whole show is going to be Brenner in 11, I believe. And they've announced there's only going to be one more season of Stranger Things. It's going to be probably in 2024. They do a 2-year cycle. I'm thinking that it's Brenner's upbringing, Brenner's background. He got exposed to something. I don't know. That's going to explain the whole upside down thing. That's just my guess. I could be completely off, but that would be my guess. So, but a pretty damn big thumbs up. I got sucked in. I basically binged the whole thing over a couple days. I was probably trying to pace myself like one episode a day. And the 2 episodes pop on. They drop on July 1st. I'll probably end up watching both of them, or I'll watch one a day too. Partly because I just want to just see what other people are saying about it, and of course when you haven't watched it, you don't know what they're talking about because you want to get spoilers and stuff like that. So I also kind of wonder a little bit about the Dustin character. Well, I still think he's basically the best character on the show, really, since the show started. Is he going to still stick with this girlfriend of his in Utah, and we meet her and her family, or does we get like a Harry Potter metaphor a little bit with he connects with Lucas's sister? I would not be surprised. The only flaw in that is by the time the show ends, she's still a little too young. She's supposed to be 11 on season 4 in '86, so. But easily, like if you fast forward 5 or 10 years, I suppose at that point, if they're filming in 2023, 2024, it might, the actress might be able to pass for someone who's like 17, 18, and you could have them a few years later, and then, Dustin's like, my girlfriend Susie, I love her, but she's got too many religious things going in Utah, and I really somehow have connected with your sister, Lucas. I'm sorry. I don't know. That they're a little young. It's a little weird to think about that, but I think that they've kind of having her join the gang a little bit. He's connected with her more. Lucas, of course, wants his sister having nothing to do with the mystery solving group. But she's actually one of the best parts of the show. If Dustin is the best and funniest parts of the show, and at times throughout the history of the show, she may be the best part of the show, the funniest part of the show, at least the last couple seasons. But Lucas's character, I can understand why he wanted to meet some new people and play basketball and stuff, but I think what ultimately ends up happening, could happen, is he ends up doing both, and some of the basketball players kind of change their minds about the D&D thing and the sci-fi. They're not going to be best buds, but kind of like how James Franco's character, the Freaks and Geeks, end up hanging out with the geeks and playing D&D. I don't know. It's just, I'm thinking 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of time, and I guess the Duffer Brothers have agreed, since the 5th season is going to be the final season of the Stranger Things. There's already a planned spin-off, so I don't know what the spin-off's going to be. I hope it's different, but I hope, that, I don't know, maybe it's Dustin. Maybe Dustin gets his own show. I don't know. But anyway, if you watch Stranger Things Season 4, Volume 1, what are you thinking about Volume 2? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time.